parents came as refugees in 1972, and I was studying hotel management in North Wales. Because I had no money, I had to join them. So I came to Toronto. And because I didn't have any money, I had to find a job. So I worked as a security guard one summer for $1.85 an hour, 16-hour shifts. And I started school in September of '73. And I had to borrow money to go to school, so I took loans. And I worked on weekends. Most of you can relate to that, right? But one thing happened to me when I was here. I got a scholarship for $500 from the F.G. Bradley Meat Company, and I'm sure it doesn't exist anymore. That really shocked me because I needed the money, like most of you know what it's like. And I said, you know what? This is amazing. I never forgot that. So when you go into the work life and you're working full-time, and one day when you have extra money, make sure you remember that, especially those of you that have received a scholarship. Now, at George Brown College, I was very lucky. I had some great instructors. You probably don't even know these people, but let me tell you, your instructors, your teachers, can really help you if you want them to. I had 3 teachers that I still think about today. First one was Bob Struthers. Bob was in charge of the front office program and banquet teaching, event management, do you call it now? And he was the chair of the hospitality program. I don't know if any of you remember Bob. And I had another teacher, Nelson Iturriaga, who taught us F&B cost control. And then I had another teacher called Jacques Marie, who taught us Prep 1, Prep 2, and wine tasting. And you know, the stories that they told us about working in the business world helped me relate when I was in the business world. So when these teachers tell you stuff, it's very important that you pay attention to them because they're giving you words of wisdom and stories so that you can utilize this in the business world. So when I was graduating in May of 1975, or April of '75, I was wondering, who do I work for? So I had a choice of working for Hyatt, which is now, well, it was the old Four Seasons, Sutton Place, Holiday Inn, Sheraton Center, and there was a new hotel opening. It was called Hotel Toronto. Today it's the Hilton on Richmond Street. And so I asked my teacher, Bob Struthers, I said, Bob, what should I do? He said, you know, if I were you, I'd work for Westin International Hotels, because that was the management company. And I said, why? He said, because they promote from within, and they have a great benefit program. So, by the way, the name Westin comes West from Western, IN from International Hotels to Westin. That's how that brand was born later on. So, I started work at the hotel as right at the bottom. It was a job that doesn't exist today. It was called an NCR poster. And what we did is behind the front desk, we posted charges for customers. And that was the job. But I looked around and I said, I need to get up the ladder. How do I do that? So I asked questions and I said, all the current general managers in Canada at Westin Hotels, what is their background? How did they go up the ladder? And I found out there was a pattern. They all had tremendous rooms experience and a little bit of food and beverage experience. So I plotted that in 10 years, I was going to be a general manager of a Westin hotel. At that time, Westin International Hotels was bigger than Marriott, bigger than Hyatt. It was the best management company in North America. And if you are a manager at Westin, you got to be special. So I said, in 10 years, I'll be that. I plotted what job I was going to have when in order to get there. So let me ask you a question. How many of you think I made general manager 10 years from now, from that day? Put your hands up. Only 4, 5, 6? Well, the rest of you are right. I made it in my 11th year. See, when you set goals, you aim high. If you miss, it doesn't matter. So, when I went to work, what was it that helped me get up the ladder? What was it that helped me? Well, you got to stand out. You have to do more than everybody else. You have to go into work with a positive attitude and determination that you're going to succeed, and you got to believe in yourself. And there, you got to make sure you're helping fellow employees, and you're helping the guests. That the guests think you are a great hospitality person. And so when it comes time to promotions, who do they think of? The person that is doing the best. And you know, because I plotted how I was going to become general manager, there were areas of the hotel I was not going to work in because I had a 10-year window and I had to have these positions to get there. So on my days off, I would come in and work for free in those departments. I'd work after my shifts in those departments. Why? Because I wanted knowledge, so that when I became a general manager, nobody could pull the wool over my eyes. Now, I just talked about goal setting. Those of you who are in year one, imagine you're graduating today. All right? So say you're graduating today. How many of you have goals of what you want to achieve a year after school? Put your hands up. Okay, put them up, please. All right. How many of you have goals for 3 years down the road? Okay, those are the hands. How many of you have goals 5 years down the road? One guy. How many 10 years down the road? One person. Stand up. I want you to stand up. All right. What's your goal?
Well, it's not specific, but I want to slowly work up, whether it be 5-6 years manager, let's say, restaurant in the hotel, and then maybe oversee the restaurants that would be in the hotels after another 5 years, and then 10 years, hopefully become a little more in the company and get to know people, and then eventually get to a higher spot.
Okay, how about you?
Me, I know that it's difficult, but I wanted to go to at a management level, a general management level for a good company, for like 4 seasons of Marriott. Because I am currently in my 4th semester, so I'm just going to complete my schooling next semester. So.
See these two people? Look at them. They get their names and watch them 5 and 10 years from now. You know why? Because they know what they want. And most students don't know what they want when they graduate. Let's face it out. And it's very important that you know what you want. And you know, at work, if I have to look at my experience, what made me who I am today, it's not the successes I had in my life, it's the adversity. You know, coming as a refugee from Uganda to Canada. By the way, if you are Canadian citizens, you are one of the luckiest people in the world. You hit the jackpot. If you were born or citizen of Canada or the United States or Australia, you are special. You can be anything you want to be. You can start from the bottom and work your way up. This country gives you that chance. It doesn't happen elsewhere in the world. So, adversity. Whenever you have difficult times, and most of you can relate to difficult times in your life, that's when you grow. You don't grow when things are going well. And the biggest learning happens to a person, and the biggest change happens in a human being when they go through difficult times and how they handle those difficult times. So I had a lot of adversity, you know, and when I started out working hard, somebody would say, Minaz, why are you trying so hard? Don't you know that you'll never be a general manager? You're not white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. And you know, he was right. I wasn't. And when I looked around, there were no people of color in management positions at that time in the 70s. But you know what? I believed in myself. I was determined. I had goals. But the most important thing is your self-talk. What do you say to yourself about you is so important. For everything, most human beings are very hard on themselves. We put ourselves down. It's very important that you say 5 things good to everything bad that you say to yourself. So you build yourself up, so you are confident. Because if you are not confident, it'll show in your interactions with other people. But adversity is the biggest way to get ahead. And I tell you, in my career, I think of 3 difficult assignments or adversities that I faced was very, very important. Now remember, I wanted to work for Western International because it was the best management company. I wanted to become a general manager. But during my time, I had a very difficult manager. I was a restaurant manager. I was the assistant restaurant manager. And he was very knowledgeable about how to work and run restaurants, but he was a mean person. He had bad interpersonal skills, and he would love to walk past you and insult you and walk away. And I'd go home and sometimes I'd cry because I didn't know how to handle this guy. So I had 2 choices. I quit, or I make it better with that person. Very difficult time. So I decided I was going to really make this work. And you, in your careers, are going to find difficult people. You've got to make a choice. I turned the situation around. But 4 years later, I became his boss. And then his assistant came to me to complain about the very things I went through with him. So what do you think I did? What would you have done if you were me?
Fired.
Huh?
Fired.
Fire? Anybody else? All right, no? So I got him into my office and I said, look, here's what this gentleman has said. Let me tell you what I used to go through working for you. And he heard me and he said, so why don't you fire me? I said, no. Firing you would be the easy thing to do. But helping you change because you're so good at what you're doing on the skill level, you could be twice the person you are. So I didn't fire him, but I helped change him. But that difficult time improved me as a manager and as a person, but I helped change him. In 1982, I was promoted to the assistant general manager at the Westin Hotel in Edmonton. Edmonton had gone through an oil crisis, and in 82, that hotel ran 80% occupancy. In 83, they ran 59% occupancy. The people were in shock because things had changed so much. As deep recession. I went in there, was just promoted. The area vice president told me, you need to put controls in this place. We can't have a loss in this hotel. I'd never faced that before. I had to rethink what to do, challenge everything, work with the team. We re-engineered the operating model. We brought controls in place so that we're not in a loss situation. That experience made me a better business person and a better manager. See, so adversity is the most powerful thing in the world. When I became a general manager, what I didn't tell you is where I became a general manager. I became general manager at the Westin Hotel in Winnipeg, in Manitoba. Now Winnipeg at that time had the reputation of being the armpit of Canada. And nobody wanted to go there, and everybody talked how bad it was there. So, difficult assignments. I went into the hotel made very little money. It was okay run. And nobody from corporate offices came to visit because nobody wanted to visit Winnipeg. It's not a sexy place to go. But you know what? They gave me the freedom to experiment, and I had some successes and I had some failures, and I really learned from my failures. But in 2 years, we were the highest guest satisfaction in Canada, highest employee satisfaction in Canada, with double-digit profit growth for 4 years in a row. All right? That experience is why I am standing today with you. Because that experience changed me. Every other job I got, I was good. Because I had gone through difficult assignments. So when you get offers of difficult assignments, don't take the easy one. Take the difficult one because it's going to grow you and it's going to teach you. Now, how many of you would like to learn about goal setting? How many? Would you like to know? So 7 years ago, what I came up with was really easy goal setting. But I went to a seminar by a gentleman who just passed away 3 years ago. His name is Jim Rohn. You can go to jimrohn.org, I think it is. Jim Rohn was a very wise man, and he was a great philosopher. He taught us something that I think I need to teach you. He said the following: take a piece of paper, and I think you should write this so that you remember what I said. Take a piece of paper and just think, what do I want to achieve in the next 10 years of my life? In my work life, and I was all about work, remember, on my personal life, on my social life, on my health, for my health life, so working out, eating right, all that, and my spiritual life. Because this is holistic goal setting versus what I used to do, which was purely business. I was driven purely on that. So just think of, and just free form, write down what you want to achieve in the next 10 years in all these areas of your life. It'll take you half an hour to do that. Once you've done that, you go to the list and you put there, if it's something you want to achieve in year 1, you put 1. If it's anything you want to achieve in year 3, you put a 3. Anything you want to achieve in year 5, you put a 5. Anything you want to achieve in year 10, you put 10. Are you tracking with me? Then you put all the 1s together, all the 3s together, all the 5s together, and all the 10s together. Now comes the work, after you've done that. You choose the top 3 things you want to get in year 1, that you want to accomplish. The top 3 things in year 3, top 3 things in year 5, and the top 3 things in year 10. You're going to have 15 goals you want to achieve over the next 10 years. Then you look at that goal sheet every week. What you find is that your mind and your body is going to move towards those things, and you're going to make that happen. You do that, you will be separating yourself from the masses, because that is the most powerful thing you can do. Have a sense of purpose of where you're going and the direction. That direction will make you a better husband or wife, a better father, and better at work. And you'll be healthier because you have planned what you're going to do, and you're actually going to do it because you're going to be looking at it on a weekly basis. So, I worked there and I became a general manager. When I became general manager, I said, okay, now what do I do? So I set another 10-year goal. That in 10 years, I'm going to be president of a hotel company. And I knew the jobs I wanted, the years I wanted. And this time, I made the goals. Exactly like I had planned. And I was president of Chip REIT and Chip Hospitality, a public company that owned hotels all across Canada. And then there are times when something you did not plan happens. I was minding my own business, living in Vancouver, British Columbia, had a great life. And I got a phone call in 2003, in February, from a search firm, Spencer Stewart. And they said, would you be interested in a position to work for a REIT, a real estate investment trust, in the hotel business that's a Fortune 500 company? And I said, that sounds interesting. What is the job? He said, Executive VP of Asset Management. I said, what is asset management? Let me send you a position profile. I get the position profile. I said, that's what I do. I didn't know it was called asset management. That's what I do. So I went for the interview and I started working. Ladies and gentlemen, that job changed my life because I was in the minor leagues in Canada. And I went into the major leagues, dealing with the best brands in the business. And at that time, Host was just in North and South America. Then we had hotels in Europe, hotels in India, hotels in Australia. And I got to deal with the premium brands in the business. And I got to influence them to improve our hotels. Because of all the knowledge I had previously, I was able to push the buttons because I knew the hotel business and I knew how to make hotels successful. And it helped our company, but it also helped them. So that job changed my life, changed my family's life, and that's why I could retire 4 months ago. And I had a goal that I was going to retire by the age 64. I'm turning 64 next month. So I retired, and if I hadn't taken that job, if I had stayed in a comfortable job in Vancouver, I wouldn't have been able to retire. And so sometimes you may not have set a goal, but an opportunity comes to you. And when it does, look at it. Okay, don't decide, it's not on my goal sheet, I'm not going to do that. You never know, it may be just aligned with you that you just don't realize. So that's been my life as far as my work is concerned. So Cindy asked me, I want you to speak about your career, about your journey. That's been my journey. The second thing she wanted to know was talk about Marriott's acquisition of Starwood and Delta. Now, what does that mean? Well, let me tell you. Marriott International, which is, don't confuse them with Marriott, the hotel brand, the hotel Marriott Eden Center. It's Marriott International is a brand company, it's a franchise company, and management company. They make their money by branding hotels and charging for royalty fees, through franchise fees, through management fees. They don't own any hotels. Marriott doesn't own any hotels. It's Host who owned quite a few Marriott hotels and other owners who own hotels. Marriott doesn't own hotels. Marriott's in the business of franchising and branding hotels. So they are going to be the biggest. They are the biggest. Very powerful. They have 30 brands. Their loyalty program is now going to be the most successful loyalty program because more people are going to be members of the loyalty program. So there's going to be a lot of stickiness. They'll be able to negotiate deals with OTAs like nobody can because they are the biggest. They can also buy better because of the bulk buying that they can do with so many more hotels all over the world.
What's an OTA?
Online travel agency. So Expedia, Priceline is a travel agency, online travel agency, which can charge you anywhere from 13 or 12% to 22% commissions every time you make a reservation. And Marriott will pay the lowest. What is the negative about this situation? Well, the negative is that when you have 30 brands, there's a blur between one and the other. What's the difference between a Marriott and a Sheraton and a Westin and a Renaissance and a Meridian? Eventually, they could be a mush, and they may be just names, but they may be very similar. So we worry, as owners, we worry about that. And on a certain corner, when you go to a certain corner, like I lived in Washington, D.C., and where I lived on M and 23rd Street, you had 6 Marriott full-service hotels there. So as a Marriott Rewards customer that's a gold member or a platinum member, and you get all the benefits of Marriott, what do? You're going to D.C., you got 5 hotels to choose from, you're doing business close by. Which is the best deal? Because I get all my benefits. I get my free breakfast, I get my upgrades, and all of that. So I think this will help further commoditize the brands, and then also be difficult to increase prices. The price transparency is going to be a problem. So I think that's a negative. Another negative with Marriott will be what they demand the owners. They'll demand the owners to invest in the hotels, really differentiate their brands. And the owners may do that, but they may not make extra revenue because Marriott is a growth machine. They only want to grow the number of units. So you may have a Sheraton in one corner, but they may put a little Meridian on the same corner. It's not the same brand, it's a different brand that they own. Marriott makes the franchise fees, Marriott makes the royalty fees, the marketing fees, but that owner who owns that Sheraton now has more people on a Marriott pipe that can go to this other hotel. So I think it could be difficult for owners to get a return on investment because of this merger and acquisition. And because before there was competition and Marriott could only put so many Marriott hotels that were fed with a Marriott pipe, and then that really got the Marriott Rewards program. So I think that's the negative on Marriott. If you look at what's happening in the industry is changing. Now, how many of you have owned a smartphone? All of you. There's 3 billion smartphones in the world right now. In 3 years, guess how many smartphones there will be? Any idea? 3 years. There's 3 billion right now. That'd be, you said 7? 6 billion. In 3 years, we'll go from 3 billion to 6 billion. What does that do to our business? 6 billion smartphones. So let me tell you, the smartphone has helped with the digital disruption of every business. If you look at Uber, it's disrupted the taxi business. You look at Airbnb, it's disrupting the hotel business. You look at the online travel agents, Expedia and Priceline, they have disrupted the hotel business, so people are going to them to book reservations. Hotels are paying them 20% commissions. What other disruptions are there that are happening you can think of?
Retail.
Retail. Who's doing the retail disruption?
Amazon.
Amazon. Okay?
Food. You're into food now, right?
And groceries now. So you see the disruptions that are coming in? There are new apps happening that are disrupting every business. Another disruption is, when you had to go to a city and book a tour if you were a visitor. Now you can go on TripAdvisor or on Expedia and book a tour before you even arrive. So now nobody goes to the concierge. You have OpenTable, you have Yelp, TripAdvisor. You can look at restaurants before you go. You don't have to go and ask the concierge, what do you think of this restaurant? User-generated content and reviews is everywhere on every business. So giving good service and having good products is the point of entry today. You cannot fool people anymore. That's how transparent we are. Talk about transparency. There's price transparency everywhere. People can look at prices and shop everywhere. Well, you know what that has done to the hotel industry in the last 2 years? Hotels have not been able to increase prices. Occupancies are up because of the transparency. More people are booking hotel rooms, but we cannot increase prices in the United States as much. Why? Because what happens is, unlike the airline, when you get closer to the date, the price goes up. In hotels, you get closer to the date, price goes down. Because your competitor has empty rooms, and they just put rooms on sale, and the revenue management systems are such that they look at the competitor's pricing and what's happening in the market, and they drop the price. So the hotel industry is going through some real changes. And if an owner who owns the hotel cannot increase the prices that much, but you have more acquisition costs because there are more reservations through OTAs. You have commissions you are paying to them, so that means your costs are going up, right? That's the acquisition cost. Your labor costs are going up, your benefit costs are going up, but you cannot increase your revenues. What happens if a business is looking at very little revenue growth and expenses are growing up more than revenue growth? What happens? What happens? Louder.
I said we keep losing money, going out of business.
They will lose money, or they will start making less money, okay? Their earnings will go down, and that means the owner's return on investment is going down. So the hotel industry today is at a crossroads. So you have now seen the announcement of Marriott that the cancellation now is 48 hours before, that if you cancel less than 48 hours, that you are charged for the room. You've seen that? You know why they've done that? Because there are apps available today which tells you that the hotel you booked, their prices have dropped, so cancel the reservation and book it at a lower price. Or the hotel next door is offering a $50 less rate, why don't you book it there? And people are canceling last minute, and the cancellation rate is gone up. But that's just the beginning of what we're doing. You know what we have to do in the hotel industry to really change the game? Is we have to follow the airlines. Whereby, when you book an airline ticket, you pay at the time of reservation. If hotels change the game, then these disruptors would have a tough time. Because once you've paid for the ticket, and the price drops, you can't change it. Because you got to pay a change fee and a cancellation fee. And you know the airlines, 33% of their revenues comes from what they call ancillary fees, the change fees and cancellation fees and things like that. That's why they're so profitable. And if we don't change in the hotel industry, owners are going to find difficulty in making increased yields. And people like Host, which owns hotels for many, many years, may find it difficult unless they change the model and they start recycling the hotels, meaning they buy a hotel and they sell it after 4 years, and they don't wait for 10 years when new supply comes in and deteriorates their earnings. So that's what's happening to the industry. Now, I've spoken for the last half an hour, but the real deal happens when you ask me questions. The real learning happens when you ask me questions. And I encourage you that there's no stupid questions. Your question that you have is a very important question, and I'm here to answer it for you. So, who would like to be the first one to ask me a question? Yes?
Why can't you change it, like adjust the way things are in the hotel industry to the way the airplane industry is? Why is it difficult to do that?
Very good question. So, I think it'll take one company to announce that. And I think one company announces that, the others will follow.
But aren't you all like in that same predicament?
Well, what they're worried about is one announces it, nobody else does anything about it, and
Right.
it just falls apart. So I think that is why. But it has to come to this, because right now a reservation is an option. It's not a commitment. When you make an airline reservation, it's a commitment.
We're talking about the difficulties now about the industry. As students, when we graduate, what hope, do we have, to work in the industry?
So I think you have an amazing opportunity. I say that in the industry, what is really, where the money is, I think, in the future, is in the brand companies, like Marriott, Hyatt, all that, and in the management companies. The management companies that run hotels. So they're third-party managers, but there's also brands that manage. I think that's where the money is, and that's where I think the opportunities are. If I was starting out again, I did that. That's what I did. I worked for a management company. I think that's where the money is today. No stupid questions, just good answers. I'll give you the answers. Come on. Yes.
Any advice for people getting into the hotel industry for like newcomers? Like anything to look out for, like anything to be aware of?
So I think it's day in, day out,
Right.
going to work with a positive attitude that I'm going to make a difference here, and really doing your best every day. You cannot afford to be moody in our business. You are serving the public, and so you cannot be, partying until 4 in the morning and going to work at 7 thinking I can do it. You can't do it. You have to be committed. This is a service business, and it's an amazing business, but it is one business where you can start at the bottom and you can rise to the top. All right? Very few businesses have that today. This is an amazing business. And in this business, you can also go into business for yourself. My friends that came from Uganda, I was one of the very few that worked for somebody. They all went in and bought their first motel, and then they bought their first hotel, and now they own 100 hotels, because that's what they did. They didn't want to work for somebody, they wanted to go into business for themselves. I wanted to work for Westin. I thought that was the cat's meow. But that's, whatever resonates with you is right for you. But this is an amazing business. This is a business where the sky's the limit. You can travel the world. You can work all over the world if you want to. And if you want to go into business, you can go into business. And there'll be people going into business with you and investing with you. And think about that. But the key is you got to have knowledge. You got to have knowledge. If you want to own a hotel, you better know what you're talking about. So But this is an amazing business. And by the way, coming to this school and seeing the facilities here, we were on Nassau Street off Spadina. We didn't have the facilities you guys have. You guys are blessed. This is amazing what you have here.
That was your fourth adversity, was coming to George Brown on Nassau Street.
I had to travel an hour and a half to come to. I had to take 2 buses and a subway to come because we didn't have money, so we lived Shepherd and McCowan, and it's the cheapest apartments were there. So that's what happened. But you know what? A blessing was you could say hour and a half. I did all my homework on the bus. So when I went home, I had no homework to do. You have a question?
So, what would your intake be on Airbnb, and how the industry should handle looking towards the future?
Airbnb is here to stay. So Airbnb is just instant supply when you have demand going up. So if Toronto has a convention and the rates are $600, people are going to open up their homes and help people save money. So hotels' rates are going to come down. Airbnb is a price regulator for the nice hotels. But Airbnb also looks at people who don't want a small hotel room because they're traveling with their families and they'd rather, or the 4 or 5 people are coming here and they rent an apartment. It's much cheaper and they don't need all the other services. But I think it's mostly for the mid-scale and below. It's not for the upscale and upper scale. Like, I don't like Airbnb. For me, when I travel, I want to be in a hotel. I want to be in a nice facility. I want security. So that's important to me. But our son, guess what he does? Airbnb. The millennials.
One fine stay.
Same thing. It's one fine stay is luxury homes that you can rent. You go to New York, Los Angeles, London. One fine stay is it's a great business model. So you are an owner of a luxury apartment, but you're only there 2 weeks a year because you have 3 or 4 homes. You put your home in one fine stay and you make an income. And that's here to grow and stay. You can't fight it. You can't fight it. It's just the way of life. And you know what? There were empty rooms before, people's homes. There were empty apartments. They were sitting there. Now there's a use for it. Airbnb is here. And that would be another company to work for. Maybe another company to work for. Yes, sir.
It's great when you send the girls for
Yes.
this stage in your life for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years.
1 year, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. But I heard that in this industry, everything is competitive. When your people who work under your umbrella or your boss, maybe sometimes they can be your competitors. They try to push you down. So have you ever faced a lot of things like this, and what did you do to deal with this?
Okay, so you're saying that did I ever face a boss who I work for that pushed me down?
Or people who work under your umbrella,
Right.
they try to push you down to
Right.
have the position.
Excellent point.
Yeah.
So what you do is you change first of all, you ask why are they doing that? What is wrong in our relationship? What have I done that's making you do this way? Find out. Don't say he's picking on me because I'm this, that, or that. Find out what the problem is. They'll tell you. When they tell you, take heed of what they're saying and see what can I do to change. So when anybody criticized me when I was working, I never said it's because of my background. I always say, feedback is the breakfast of champions. Somebody gives you feedback. You take it because they're telling you something that's wrong in their mind for you, and you want to change it. So your goal should be, how do I change this relationship? What do I do to make this better? In that, you become a better person because maybe you had some issues that you had to work on that you were unaware of. But take it as, what can I do to change this? But also, don't believe everything they say about you and put yourself down. Build yourself up and say, I'm going to make this work. And by the way, all through my career, I had issues like that. I just gave you a few examples. But this is life. It's human relations. But how are you going to behave? And remember, those people that mistreated me, they're still in the same level they were many, many years ago. I kept on going because I didn't allow them to get to me. All right? I killed them with kindness. I asked why, and I did what was right, and I worked with them. Answer your question? Good. Who else? Yes, sir.
With the way technology has been advancing so quickly in the last 10, 20 years,
Yes.
From your experience, what have you seen grow the most within the hotel industry from a technology point of view?
Okay. Well, something that I think it's very sad. Recently, you've heard about, brands like Hilton and Marriott have, you can check in, select your room that you want, have the mobile key, and check out. And you can also put service requests. So they've implemented all these things because of everybody having a smartphone and shifting to mobile. But they really haven't changed the hotel operating model. We still operate hotels like we did 30 years ago. And when we got computers, we didn't change anything. Computers were just there to make things faster. What we need to do in this business is change the operating model. And one of the things I think about is, in the future, what you'll find is there will be more utilization of Internet of Things devices and chatbots. And you guys are millennials, or some of you may be even younger than millennials. Millennials don't call anymore. They don't call each other, they text, right? The message. And messaging is going to be the future of communications with businesses. So WhatsApp, Messenger, WeChat are going to be what people use to communicate with businesses. So hotels need to change, and if people are checking in and checking out themselves, they need fewer employees. There will be fewer people working in engineering because they don't have to go and check every piece of equipment because there'll be devices on that telling you when they need service. So in the future, I see fewer employees, but much better quality of employees. And I see that customer contact centers in hotels, so that she's going into the Marriott Center. A week prior, she gets a message on her WhatsApp saying, "I understand you're coming to our hotel. Can we make a reservation for you for a spa? Is there anything you like? Can you book transportation?" So she's, "Oh, these people care about me. Yes, I would like dinner for 6 in your restaurant on Saturday." She does that, it's done. So before the stay, there's a communication. During the stay, if there's any issues, and post-stay. And this way, you will customize the experience. People will have a good feeling about your hotel. You'll go there. But that means we got to change. Currently, we don't have anything like that. So hotels will need to change. They'll go to a mobile mind shift. And they need to take the mobile mind shift to change the way hotels are run. And schools like yours will now need to start thinking about how hotel of the future should be run. That's what's going to really change. But industry is very slow in this. And yet, look, all of you are on smartphones. I mean, if any of you would like to check in on your smartphone, or would you like to check in lining up at the front desk? What's the choice you would take? Thank you. And yet we still have the front desk where you're going to line up, you're going to, come on, it's old, it's passé. Restaurants, you go to restaurants today. You go to restaurants at the airport, what's happening? All have iPads. And you order what you want and it comes. Why can't we do that in hotel restaurants? McDonald's is doing it. Yes, sir.
There's actually, not a question, it's just kind of like a statement.
Absolutely.
I was at the airport in New York, and I was at a restaurant with my family, and to order food, the waiter would like obviously come bring you drinks, but like you'd order it on the laptop or the iPad.
Yes.
Not even like conversing with any, like waiter or waitress or whatever. It was really weird. I never really.
And you've got the food delivered to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never. Really
And what did you think of that experience?
I don't know. I personally, I didn't really like it. I like talking to whoever served me or like get to know them in some sort of way. But yeah, I felt like it was really, I don't know, it felt weird to me. But,
Not weird, because you're not used to it.
Yeah, exactly.
But remember how it was when we first went into banking, and we tried to use the bank card. It was weird, right? Well, now we don't go to the teller anymore.
It's universal now. So.
Yeah, so it will take time, but in the end, you can customize things as long as the technology is good. Then I think it's okay. But fair point. Fair point.
kind of comment on Harrison's point with the technology.
Yeah.
I think it sure will always advance, but I think there'll always be people in society who like that feeling of real service and
Yes.
real people.
Yes.
No matter how advanced 2020, whatever.
Yes.
I think technology can never take over a real good waiter or a real good front desk or two guys opening a door who are homey who make you feel like.
And I think you're gonna have the guys opening the door, greeting you, gonna help you,
Yeah.
but they'll be able to do everything for you.
Yeah.
They just may not just be doing front desk for you because they can actually do more than that.
Yeah.
And that's why I think you need better quality people
Yeah.
who are more engaged, paid more.
Yeah.
But there'll be fewer people because guys like you are not gonna go to them, but older guys like me may wanna go to them. See, it's because we may want that personalized service and somebody to talk to because we're lonely.
I do prefer that personally.
Okay?
Yeah.
But you may not prefer that. I mean, I know you prefer that, but you may not prefer that. And I may not prefer that. I'm just giving an example. So there's a choice. I mean, you won't be either or, but we have to move more to the technology side than what we are.
That's where everyone goes.
Yes. Good question. More questions? Yes, sir.
So, in your opinion, what is the single most important asset or trait or skill set that you need to become where you are at today? Or
Where do you want to go? So in 10 years from now, where do you want to be in Altel?
I guess becoming a boss, I guess.
Boss of what? Just
That's,
do you like hotels? You want to work in a hotel?
yeah.
Do you want to be a front office manager? You want to be a director of rooms? You want to be a general manager? What do you want to be 10 years from now?
But probably go with general manager.
Let's say you want to be general manager of a hotel. What kind of hotel?
Oh. Any hotel be?
Well, what, is it a full service hotel? Is it a select service hotel? Is it an extended stay hotel? What hotel resonates with you?
Well, food service.
Full service. Let's say you're in a full service hotel, okay, a Marriott or a Sheraton or all right? Let's say you want to do that. So you made a goal. Now you got to ask yourself, what do you need to learn and do to be an effective general manager? What skill sets do you need to hone? What are the jobs you should have in order to get there? You got your background from George Brown. This is the foundation. Right? This is the beginning. You know, I graduated from George Brown in 1975. In 1994, I got my executive MBA. Okay? Because I felt that I needed to learn and grow. And I didn't think that I had enough of an education yet. So I got an executive MBA. That opened doors for me. And while I was working, I was always reading books and attending seminars to gain more knowledge. But I'm still not satisfied. In 2010, I went to Harvard University and completed the advanced management program. Right? Why? Because I want to be better than I was yesterday. I want to be better at what I'm doing. And I can talk to anybody from any part of the world. And so it doesn't stop. Your education doesn't stop after George Brown College. If you want to be a general manager, you got to ask yourself, what happens? What are the positions I need to hold? What experience I need to do? And then plan your life. And say, in 2 years I want to do this, 4 years from now I want to do this, 6 years from now I want to do this, 8 years from now I want to do this, and in 10 years or 12 years, whatever your years are, I'm going to be this. When you put that in, you will go to it. But that doesn't mean it just happens on its own. You work hard at your job, you get along with people, you read books, you try and better yourself. Answer your question?
Yeah, so basically it's continuous learning, so college does not end here.
Thank you.
And plan your life ahead.
Thank you.
Short-term, long-term.
Excellent. Excellent. Other yes, ma'am.
My question is personal. As you mentioned before, your parents was a refugee, and then you started studying in George Brown.
Yes.
Before everything, before you step in hotel history studies, why did you choose hotel?
Oh, you want to know the story? So I was living in Kampala, Uganda, 16 years old. Dad came home one day. Son, have you decided what you want to do? And I said, Dad, I haven't decided what I want to do when I grow up. So when I talk to the parents of 4 of your friends, one wants to be a doctor, one wants to be a lawyer, one wants to be a chartered accountant, and your best friend, his father told me he's going to be a pharmacist. You haven't decided yet? You're not going to amount to anything because you haven't decided yet. So I was very upset that my father would speak to me that way. And so I met this friend of mine, this pharmacist guy, at the Apollo Hotel, which is now the Sheraton in Kampala. And I walked in there, and I was waiting for him, and as usual, he was late. And I saw this man walking around. He wore a navy blue jacket, white shirt, gray pants, striped tie, walking around looking important. And I said, that's what I want to do. So I went home, I said, Dad, I want to be a hotel manager. He says, great. I'll send you to Great Britain, you'll study hotel management. When you come back, we'll go into the hotel business. So I decided to go into the hotel business then. And then when I was studying there, and our family came as refugees, all money stopped. But I still had the same goal that I wanted to be a hotel GM. I wanted to be in the hotel business. That was a passion for me. It happened because I saw this guy and I made my decision. That's why I got into the hotel business. Anybody? Yes, sir.
When a hotel is like facing like a crisis or natural disaster, like in the past few weeks,
Yes.
what kind of procedures do you guys end up doing?
Oh my goodness, there's a
Ensure like everybody's safe.
absolutely. You want to make sure the employees are safe. You want to make sure the guests are safe. You want to make sure that any destruction to the building is taken care of. The insurance people come in, the risk people come in, the companies that fix the hotels after come in. It's a big, long process, but it's a big job, and we work with the managers and with our risk people to fix the hotel, to bring the hotel back in as fast as we can.
So many people graduating so quickly, and so many like diplomas and degree programs out there. How far, in your opinion, can a diploma program get you as compared to a degree and then your master's?
Excellent question. So, remember, I had a diploma, and when I graduated in 1975, there was only one university that offered a degree program, and that was University of Guelph. Ryerson had a diploma program, Humber had a diploma program, Seneca had a diploma program, we had a diploma program. Today, you have a different deal. Everybody's offering a degree program, and everybody's offering a master's. My personal opinion is that I would get a degree, okay? Because the competition is there. And I wouldn't get a master's right away. I would go and work in the business, then get my master's afterwards, because you cannot apply all that book knowledge unless you're in the business and learning and doing, and then you come back and then you take your master's, doing way better. When I took my executive MBA, I was the general manager of the Westin Crown Center in Kansas City. Whatever I learned, I brought it in, we did it. We experimented. This guy said, oh gosh, he's back from his college again. and we would do things, it was exciting. But if I had done it before, it was all theory. Couldn't have applied it. But you don't have to have a master's to be successful. A degree can make you very successful, and it's what you learn along the way that makes you successful. Any other questions?
Excuse me?
I guess, yes, sir.
So you are saying like the diploma is not enough for right now?
It may be enough for you, but if I were you, Minaz, I would continue on and get my degree. Because it's a door opener. Look, when I got my executive MBA, it opened doors that couldn't have opened. I couldn't have become a president of a hotel management company. Because it's a public company and they got to announce what your education is. If my education was a diploma at George Brown College, but because I had an executive MBA from Rutgers University in Kansas City, it opened doors for the public markets to see, oh, this guy has an MBA. All right? It opens doors. And now that I have a guy, Harvard AMP, which is all the CEOs go to this course, all the very senior management of corporations go to this, it opens doors. So when I go on a board of directors, they look at what I have done, people have confidence in you. So if I were you, if I were in your shoes, I'd get a degree.
So can we just like from diploma, work first, then that get to be.
You can do that too. You can do that too. Whatever works for you. Everybody's got a different situation, but I would not just stop at a diploma if I were you. Yes, ma'am.
How are you personally planning to grow? As in, you've reached at such a height and you've grown so much.
Oh, thank you. First of all, it's my next chapter. It's not the end. I'm not doing nothing. So I've gone on a public company board, right, just in May. I've joined 2 charitable organizations. So my whole deal is now I'm going to spend a third of my time on doing some board work, third of my time doing some charitable work, third of my time with my family and friends making memories. Because, I don't know how long I'm going to live, and life is short. And I want to enjoy life too, because I worked 70-hour weeks for the last 42 years. And now I want to just enjoy and do some work, like what I'm doing here. This to me is fun. And if I can impart knowledge to you, if I can help you be better, then that to me is a big deal.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abji. Great way to end.